This is going to be one of the most insane videos I have ever made because we're looking to the future of shiny hunting in Pokemon once the Gold and Silver Virtual Console games are released. And this is just going to be absolutely crazy, guys, because there's so many mechanics involved with this. It's mostly looking to my plans for the future of what I'm going to do when these games are released. But the overall concept is insanely easy shiny Pokemon, and it all begins with an announcement that not many people have been talking about. Now, we all know that Gold and Silver is being released for the Virtual Console on September 22nd, and I was ready, guys. I can't wait to see how that game is going to play and then interact with 7th generation. It's going to be pretty awesome. So, as with the Virtual Consoles of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, these titles will be compatible with the wireless communication features, and then that means you can link trade and link battle with Pokemon Gold and Silver. Now, this information has been around for a while, but I didn't really know anyone that used the Red, Blue, Yellow Virtual Console to like trade Pokemon between each other or even battle. That for the most part, it's just a device that you do cool things. You transfer Pokemon into the 7th generation with exclusive moves, or you just have the Pokemon from your Red, Blue adventure kind of pop in. You missing no glitch, get level 100 Pokemon, and then you can hyper train them, make them competitive super easy. That's kind of like all that really people got out of the Red, Blue, and Yellow Virtual Console, except for like the insane amounts of nostalgia as well. It was really awesome being able to relive those games on the 3DS console without any hassle, and then also being able to record it because of a 3DS capture device or something like that. However, in addition, these titles will also be compatible with the Time Capsule function. And I'm going to be truthful with you guys for a bit. I knew this news for a while, but I was just too dang salty from accidentally wiping my save file from 8F, because I think the news either came out right before or right after. I think it was actually right after I did this 8F stream where I messed up with 8F again, and then I corrupted my game and accidentally deleted my save file. So because of that, I can't use the Time Capsule feature because I don't have a save file in my original Generation 1 games. So I decided, I'm gonna skip that. And mostly because it's kind of weird. What are you going to do with the Time Capsule feature that in the 1st generation games, well, you're just going to transfer them into the 7th generation via Pokemon Bank, and it's the same for the 2nd generation games. So I don't really see a point of putting a Gold and Silver Pokemon into Red and Blue, or vice versa, because they're all going to end up on the Pokemon Bank anyways. And that is going to be the beginning of our shiny journey for the Virtual Console games. Now, here's where things get even more complicated. So imagine the average Pokemon player. The average Pokemon player, they don't understand how all this shiny hunting stuff works. They don't know that the IVs and the DVs are what makes an impact in the 2nd generation. And a lot of people I talk to, they don't even know that you can actually breed a shiny Pokemon 2nd generation and then have a higher chance of receiving a shiny offspring. That the only time in Pokemon it is possible to breed a shiny and then have a higher chance of getting a shiny is in the 2nd generation. That sounds like some kind of troll thing you said as a kid, you know? Oh, if I breed my shiny Pokemon, they're going to be shiny more often. Well, even though it wasn't true for the most part, there was a small frame where it actually happened inside the games. So a lot of people don't care about that, and that's why things are awkward, because in the 1st generation, when you transfer it into the Pokemon Bank, you can receive a shiny in the 1st generation. However, it doesn't follow the exact formula. That 2nd generation shiny and 1st generation shiny is accessible through the Time Capsule. And now, it's like, I don't even know how to keep doing this without you losing your guys' attention, because it's so convoluted and so crazy. So here's the thing. In the 1st generation of Pokemon, you can actually use Time Capsule, pop Pokemon 2nd generation, and they become shiny. In the Red, Blue, Yellow Virtual Consoles, we have this feature, and that's because IVs are what determine shininess in the 2nd generation. I've said this a lot of times, but it's so weird because when it comes to the Pokemon Bank, it's swapped around. In the 2nd generation of Pokemon's speed, defense, and special IVs, if those are 10 and the attack is one of these numbers, then the Pokemon is shiny. However, in the Virtual Console, the attack is swapped with the defense. So if the attack is 10 and the defense is these numbers, then that's going to cause the Pokemon to be shiny. But in the 2nd generation, it's visual. A Pokemon in Gen 1 doesn't know it's shiny until it appears in the 2nd generation, and then the game assigns it shininess because of the IVs. Because the game says, oh, if Pokemon has these IVs, it can only exist as shiny. But with the Virtual Console, because they flip that one around in the Pokemon Bank, how's that going to work? Because if the average Pokemon fan that doesn't know about all of this going in the background, if they catch a shiny Pokemon 2nd generation, trade it to the Pokemon Bank, and then it doesn't appear shiny because this calculation is backwards, they're going to be pretty upset at that one. but then that means we actually have 2 formulas for obtaining shiny Pokemon potentially in the 2nd generation. Now I think what makes this so weird is that we don't have confirmation from the Pokemon Company if they messed up their own formula for shininess, or if it was an intentional change in the 1st generation, because yeah, they intentionally did something to where the Pokemon Transporter allows Pokemon to be shiny because of similar IVs in the 1st generation. But now what this means is that we could have a Pokemon that's not shiny in the 2nd generation become shiny in the 1st generation. And also a Pokemon that wouldn't be shiny via Transporter can be traded into Gen 2, get the cosmetic shiny, and then actually become shiny again. So the formula has actually different variations, I think. I don't know how the Pokemon Company is going to do it, which is also why I was hesitant to talk about this news information, because, well, we already know the time they got it backwards. They got the shiny formula backwards. Was this intentional? Was it not? Are they going to fix it completely? Is it still going to be broken in Gen 1? We don't know about this, so until we get hands-on into the game, things are still going to be pretty awkward and weird, I will say. But now let's talk about the Ditto glitch. Because the Ditto glitch needs the Time Capsule, but it's technically not a Time Capsule glitch. So the way the Ditto glitch works is that if Ditto uses Transform while Transform, so all it has to do is copy a Pokemon that knows Transform and then use Transform again. If Ditto does that, it copies that Pokemon's IVs, which means you can have a shiny Pokemon or a Pokemon with shiny IVs in the 1st generation of games copy and then become shiny like that when transferred into the Gen 2 games. Now, what Pokemon do we know is going to be shiny when we obtain it in Pokemon Gold and Silver version? Well, you get a guaranteed shiny Gyarados, and the way that shiny Gyarados is programmed, it isn't programmed as is shiny true false, it's programmed to have the IVs of a shiny Pokemon. So that means when you time capsule it, it retains those IVs because the stats aren't going to change via the time capsule. So because of that, all you have to do is teach it Mimic, and Gyarados gets access to the Mimic. So now you have a Mimic Gyarados, and in the 1st generation, you can actually choose the move you want to mimic. So you mimic the Ditto's transform, it transforms you, and then it transforms again, and now you can catch that Ditto, and technically, you have an infinite amount of shiny Dittos. That every Ditto you catch using this method will be shiny when transferred into the 2nd generation, so that means you can get a ton of shiny Dittos, and then you just Pokemon bank them into Pokemon Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun and Moon, or the 7th generation, or whatever. So that's one way of getting a ton of shiny Dittos. Now, another thing that makes this weird is that you can technically do this right now. Now, one thing that makes this even crazier is that this is where the incorrect shiny function kind of comes into play again. That technically, I could have taught my shiny Porygon Mimic and then just kind of done this, and then I could already be transporting shiny Dittos into the Pokemon Bank right now. That anyone can do this at this time, but also, if I had the correct shiny value. So if I had a Porygon that would be shiny in the 2nd generation, I could start getting these Dittos now, wait to use the time capsule, and then put them into the 2nd generation where they will be shiny. So one, this makes me kind of want a soft reset for another shiny Pokemon, therefore I could have an army of shiny Dittos right now. But 2 is that there's an easier way of getting a shiny Ditto to now breed with every Pokemon inside of Gold and Silver version that can be bred, and then have an increased chance of receiving a shiny offspring. So that's where this comes back into play. And I mean, that's why it's just so crazy. The formula being wrong, as well as how deep the momentum goes. Like, all you need to do was introduce the time capsule. Ditto glitch exists in 1st generation, so even if they make a change to the time capsule, it's still going to be possible. And now, this is how it works. And this is where it gets even crazier, because a parent passes its special stat and its defense stat to the opposite gendered children, but Ditto always passes its stats. Therefore, if a Pokemon always inherits the stats from a single parent, or if Ditto is one of the parents, the child has a 1 in 64 chance of being shiny, because the attack, all these crazy numbers on the attack, 1 in 2 chance to have the right attack. 1 in 2 chance of having the right special because it's special stat plus or minus 8. It always has the same defense stat, so it always has the shiny Ditto's shiny defense stat, and then you're just rolling a 1 in 16 for speed. Then you have a 1 in 64 chance of the child being shiny. That's absolutely crazy. And that's why the time capsule is so important, because it makes it to where you have a fast track to a shiny Ditto, or you can already have a shiny Ditto. Like, if somehow you already know the IVs, or you've already kind of planned this one out, boom, you just pop it over and you get a shiny Ditto, or if you encounter a shiny Ditto in the wild and Gold and Silver version. Or if you just wait a bit, once you get the shiny Gyarados, you're done. You're already far enough ahead in the game to have access to the Time Capsule, and as long as you have a save file that isn't deleted in the red and blue console, that's it. So that's going to pretty much be it. Looks like I have to rebuild my save file in red and blue version, so kind of not looking forward to that. Again, I was really salty, but I think enough time has passed. The wound has healed. I'm ready to move on and then dedicate the next like 2.5 months of my life to making some serious progress with this. But also, I could like Ditto Glitch now. Like I said, that'd be pretty awesome if I just made a rain of shiny Dittos. That's absolutely something possible that can be done right now. Also, if I go for the incorrect IVs, I could just go for a reverse shiny hunt right now to where I get the correct Gen 2 ones, and then when I trade it over, it should be shiny unless Game Freak tampers with Gen 2 that hard. But since Gen 1 has all the glitches. Gen 1 still has 8F, you can Missing No, you can do all kinds of crazy broken stuff in the Virtual Console. So my guess is that Gen 2 is pretty much going to be the same, which means why would they change it? So yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet. I'm a little cautious, I'm a little weary of that, but that's what I mean. So there's still a lot that can be done with the red and blue Virtual Console. Therefore, kind of sucks I have to play through the game again and then try to set up. And I already gave away my shiny, or I already transferred my shiny Porygon. I guess that just means I can shiny hunt for something else. So I go for the shiny Mewtwo, do I go for another Game Corner Pokemon? There's still some potential. At least there's that going for me. And then now it's just going to be a couple months of setup into Gold and Silver. And then it's 1 in 64 shiny odds. That is crazy, and that is going to be some of the most fun shiny hunting ever. So I look forward to it, guys. There's going to be more in-depth guides where I'm actually showing you the gameplay of it. This is just kind of like the technical aspects. This is reading off the pages, showing you guys the mechanics, showing you guys how it actually works inside of the game. Also, I was looking for like a kind of like a breeding chain as well that, since we have Water 2 and Dragon for the egg group of the Gyarados, what you can do is you can breed that with like other Dragon and Water groups and then kind of like chain it throughout everything. The thing is that Charizard is a Dragon egg group Pokemon, so that was like one of the things I was looking at. Let me try to scroll up, but not too fast, so that way it doesn't get really blurry and makes the screen kind of gross to look at. But the thing is, since Charizard is in the Dragon and Monster group, Monster has a lot of Monster fields. So yeah, you can technically create a breeding chain from the original shiny Gyarados. So even if you don't have access to the Virtual Console, or if you don't want to do the time machine into the Ditto glitch, because I wouldn't even consider that like a hardcore glitch. Like the Ditto glitch is nowhere near as crazy as the Missing No glitch or 8F. That it's really just a slight little trick slash bug slash unintended side effect, but it's not a super hard glitch that breaks the game. So it's not even like that bad to do, even if you're like weary of glitches, that anyone can just get a Ditto to transform twice through natural gameplay, and then it ends up copying the IVs, which means shiny, which means all of this. But other than that, if you want like a fun little breeding project, what you can do is try to breed until you get a shiny to breed into the next egg group to breed into the next egg group, and then you'll technically have like a shiny for all the egg groups. Now the thing is, it does have to be male unless you only want to like create copies of that shiny Pokemon, because females are the ones that produce the eggs that produce that species of Pokemon. So you will have to like double breed a lot and kind of like reverse back breed. So you'll have like 3 of every species of Pokemon shiny, but at 1 in 64 odds, depending on gender, you know, then you also have to go with the gender rate. So I'm pretty sure Magikarp is a 50-50. If not, it might be a majority male Pokemon. So let's look at Magikarp. So yeah, you have the Shining Gyarados. Depending on what gender you catch the Shiny Gyarados, it's a 50-50. So what you're looking to do is catch the Shining Gyarados as a male, breed it with a female Charmander, that way you get a female Shiny Charmander, and then you have to breed that with something else, that way until you get like a male Shiny Charmander, then you can breed that with something in the Monster and Field group, and then you have Field Pokemon, and then the odds are kind of going to stack from there. For 50-50 gender Pokemon, it's only 1 in 128. Unfortunately, the starter Pokemon, their odds are like 1 in 8 to be female anyways, so you might want to look for a better Pokemon than Charizard, but I'm at least trying to make the point that there is that crossover over there. So look for Pokemon that have like the 50-50 gender ratio, and that's still a 1 in 128 odds since it goes off of the opposite stuff right there. And then you can eventually just kind of have a shiny Pokemon for breeding in the second generation of every egg group for multiple species, and that's pretty cool. Or you can just get the Ditto, and that's why my mind is freaking... I'm excited right now. My mind is blown. I'm not looking forward to all the work, but this is how cool Pokemon is, guys. And And it just upsets me that not everyone cares about this. I'm still salty about my Gen 1 shiny hunting video not taking off, so please share this one with all your friends, like this video, get the information out there, because this is Pokemon at its coolest, and it finally works in modern Pokemon. Like, you can just do this between, like, the old school Game Boys if you still have a link cable and a working copy of Gold and Silver, because since it has an internal battery, you gotta replace that these days since all the batteries are burned out, and that means you also have to have, like, 2 original DS's and all the other crazy stuff going on with it. But it's still possible, but now it's going to be easier to do. It transfers into your games, and you're going to have something to show for it, and that is just kind of the coolest thing ever. So there we go, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Virtual console shenanigans, and that's kind of it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.